He has one gear, Joy, and that gear is to arouse fear. And that gear is to arouse fear.
And while Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are barnstorming the country, talking about what they call an opportunity economy and making things more affordable for Americans, including housing, food, and starting a business, Donald Trump has forced another issue into the center of the campaign, with a lot of help from right-wing media, including Fox, his running mates' admitted lies, the internet and social media, and conspiracy theories cooked up by literal white supremacists. That issue, of course, is immigration.
And that gear is to arouse fear.
Donald Trump knows he can't win the election based on the crappy job he did as president or his frankly crazy ideas for another administration, like spiking the cost of everything we buy through tariffs. So instead, he's going with fear of immigrants. Ironically, immigration is how modern America was built, right? Both during and after slavery, someone had to replace all that free labor, and immigrants fit the bill. Most of us here today, unless you are indigenous American, come from a family of immigrants. And yet, there's always been resistance by the old immigrants to the new people. There was the Know Nothing Party of the 1850s, the America First Nazi Curious movement in the 1930s, and now we have Donald Trump, who has decided to make fear-mongering about immigration the center of his entire campaign, with fascistic rhetoric like promising the largest mass deportation operation in history and promising it would be a bloody story, spreading racist lies about immigrants eating people's pets, and even talking about giving immigrants serial numbers, Nazi style. At this point, his entire plan is trying to scare people into voting for him.
And that gear is to arouse fear.
And just to remind you, as we talk about this, border crossings are actually down to the lowest levels in 4 years. Violent crimes also way down across the country. And everything you hear on right-wing media to suggest otherwise is a lie. There is no migrant crime wave. Immigrants actually commit fewer crimes than people born in the US. They also don't eat pets. But the facts don't matter to Trump. Instead, he just keeps ramping up the rhetoric more and more every day. Here's what he said today at what was supposed to be a speech about the economy in Michigan.
These are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing that cut your throat and they won't even think about it the next morning.
And that gear is to arouse fear.
She let our American sons and daughters be raped and murdered at the hands of vicious monsters. She let American communities be conquered. They're conquering your communities.
And that gear is to arouse fear.
We have to get them the hell out of our country because they're ruining the fabric of our country.
And that gear is to arouse fear. And that gear is to arouse fear.